Update. My son's, 18M, mother's family poisoned him against me. He thinks I, 33M, abandoned him. Honestly, I wasn't sure about posting this. It's been a very emotional heavy ordeal and I'm not usually one to post such personal things online. But you all helped a lot and if it hadn't been for your suggestions I'd probably still be lost. Well, more lost than I still am right now. I decided to go ahead and find some way to prove things happened the way they did. Old friends of hers from school, family. At least so he'd know the real truth. Not just my word against theirs. It took some time but I actually managed to find and get in touch with my ex's older sister. She wasn't as open to meeting me. Practically had to beg her to at least give me a half hour. Not only was my son told that I bailed on him but she was told too. Not by my ex though. Their parents. I explained my side of it, it didn't seem like she believed me. Thing is she was across the country in college already so was only told what happened. I thought I had hit a dead end with her. Only she calls me days later crying. This is where it gets personal. My ex passed away because she was depressed and well, she did something. She left letters for everyone. Her, their parents, my son, and apparently me. Only they never gave it to me obviously. She kept it but again she thought I was a deadbeat and felt I didn't deserve my ex's last words. She apologized for that. Our meeting sparked interest and she decided after all that time to read what my ex wrote to me. She felt weird about reading it before because my ex intended it to be only for me so to her it seemed like it might be disrespectful. But she went ahead and read it. All of it was there. Her apologies for never telling me the truth, letting her parents make this decision to keep me from him. Many other personal things that I'd rather not get into here. Her sister came over with the letter. I finally got to read it and hit me so hard instantly. Think it's the first time since this came out that I really acknowledged the fact that I lost her. Her sister agreed to talk to my son alone. It's all out there now. He called me that same week to ask if we can talk. And he was here at my place. I could tell this was hard on him just how he still looked angry at me but he was pretty emotional too. I just told him how sorry I was for not being there, he deserved a father and I couldn't be that when he needed it. And like I told him before I'm open to being whatever he'd like me to be in his life. After a while we wound up on the topic of his mom. That I was able to freely talk about for hours. He was very curious about that. Took out old pictures and everything. First conversation we got to have without any hostility or tensions. I did break down a few times talking about her but he seemed to understand. He came over around 9 and it was past midnight by the time we looked at the clock. My son hasn't said anything about what he'd like from our relationship but he says we can keep talking. I know it's going to take a lot of time and he's not in the best place right now mentally or emotionally. From what her sister told me he really went off on her parents. Well they both did. Right now he's staying with a friend and she's helping him look for his own place. He's got so much going on so following everyone's advice here giving him all the time, space he needs. I'm ready to be there for him whenever he needs me. And he at least seems open to it. We have only talked a few more times since. Still a bit short with me. Not as angry as he was before at least. He knows the truth now and that's the most important step. It's a bit conflicting because I'm happy that he believes me and giving us the opportunity to talk, but also sad that his whole world is a mess right now and he's trying to deal with it. Sorry for the long post. I know it's quite a bit but it's so much that's happened in such a short period. It's not perfect. Don't think it'll ever be. He knows now he was lied to and we're talking little by little. All I really hoped for. Thank you Reddit for this support. I'll definitely be following your advice as some of you gave some really good ones. I'm very sorry for everything you and your son have been through, especially the things done maliciously by his grandparents. It's good that the truth is out in the open now and hopefully you and your son will connect more and develop a bond that helps you both heal. Continuing to be patient and let him take things at his own pace is definitely the best way to go. If you're both open to it I would also try to maintain at least loose contact with the sister because it sounds like she is now basically without family as well. Wow. At least he may be coming out the other side now. Hard to drop 18 years of indoctrination and lies overnight, so give him time. Hugs to you and him. Your heart is broken for the loss of your love and the loss of your child. His heart is broken due to the loss of everything he has ever believed. He feels his life has been a lie. It will take time for him and you to heal. His whole world is gone and the only parents he knew, lied to him. Let him be angry. Let him grieve because now he will have to reassess every aspect of who he is. You need to grieve for the loss of your love and your child. You both may need therapy, but most important, be there for him when he needs to talk and vent, and when he just needs to have someone to listen and have fun with. Build a new relationship that allows you to support him and help him grow. I truly don't understand why there's not a convict-able crime for this shit. It should 1000% be classed as some type of kidnapping to take a child away from a parent before they even get a chance to know they exist. I get it's more complicated for situations of abuse, but for situations like this, there should be jail time. In my opinion, it's not that different to kidnapping. Wow. Those are some amazingly shitty grandparents. I really hope you can some kind of real, honest relationship with your son. I need to ask, do you have any other kids? Ever get married? And I know I'm reading into this, but it feels like it was her and only her you ever wanted. Ended positive. Thing to watch out for is that your son is going to be lost for a bit. He basically has to rebuild his identity. His anger was his main motivator, which might be gone now. Help him find another motivation and make sure he doesn't fall into an abyss. Wow. The sister had this letter the whole time but never read it? It's hard to be angry at somebody for so long and simply flip the switch and turn that off, even if you find out the reason you were angry was false. It will take time, but he will come around. Good luck to both of you. My 18 male girlfriend, 17 female, invited a guy over to her house after we argued. So, kind of just as it sounds. Over a month ago we had a fight. I had liked a former classmate's 4th of July post, and the pictures were at the beach. My girlfriend looked at my like history and saw I liked the post. She got upset, and I didn't think it was that horrible. I do understand. I would maybe be upset if she consistently was following and liking a shirtless guy's pictures. But, it wasn't like that, I just saw it while scrolling. Me insisting it wasn't a big deal led to a fairly big fight, and I thought she was overreacting. She called me horrible, disgusting, like all the other guys in her life. She'd say things like, "All men are just the same, huh?" And it hurt. Because, I don't have a track record of liking women's beach pics, it was just a post I liked while scrolling. Nothing involving the notion of me being attracted to other women has happened before. I questioned our relationship and we almost broke up, but she talked it down, and then a break, but we talked it down, and eventually went to bed. I apologized for how I was being and it was done. A few weeks after this, she is at my house. She's asleep and I was going to post a selfie of her sleeping on her story. When I opened her phone, the Messages app was open. There was a message, recent enough that other messages haven't fully moved it out of view, that read, "Come over." I shouldn't have, but I opened the message. Before that there was 2 messages, one saying, "I'm single now," and then, almost before the "come over." It showed that he read them that night but apparently didn't respond. I was kind of shocked. It was immature, but I didn't say anything. I posted on her story still and left her phone. I didn't mention it for a couple weeks because I couldn't just sit on it anymore. When I asked her, she said she didn't remember sending them. And she said that if he had came over, it would have been to smoke and talk and cry, and that he is like family. She says she forgave me for what I have done and moved past it, and so should I with this. This conversation moved to text message. I wasn't around her anymore. I told her I at least want a break for now, and she told me no, I'm just going to break up with her so she might as well do it now. She said goodbye, and didn't open any more of my messages, so I said goodbye too. This morning, I awake to messages from her. She said thanks for nothing, and then said she wasn't done with me yet so I better suck it up. I don't know what to do. She insists she didn't remember, and I want to believe her. I don't know if I just have on rose-tinted glasses and I'm not seeing the situation like I should. I want to believe what she says. I don't know. I'm in the middle of it so I don't know if I can tell, but how bad is this? Nah, she's cheating, bro. Telling a man she's single when she's not? Come on. Block her number or get a new one. If she comes to your door, ignore her. Don't go back there, and don't talk to her. Move on when you feel ready and let her play around with other guys that aren't you. Dude, you're being manipulated by a narcissist. Break up and go no contact. You don't need that kind of energy in your life. If someone refuses to own up for their actions then tries to place the blame on you or guilt you, then that is someone you absolutely do not want to be around. If you decide to stay in this relationship it will only get worse. This person is being manipulative and mentally abusive toward you. Cheating and gaslighting. Then said she wasn't done with me yet so I better suck it up. I've seen this before and that's not her call. If she wants to continue anything, you and the other guy need to have a talk about it. You need to see what he says. This would be non-negotiable for me. Let me speak to him, let me speak alone with him, period. I'll judge for myself. Period. If she couldn't give me that, I wouldn't ever talk to her again." She equated your casually liking a social media post with telling another guy she is single. She jumped at the opportunity to text another guy as soon as you had a conflict she initiated. She's a manipulative narcissist. Get out now. When a woman says, "all men are," and then says something sexist or stereotypical, just break up. Trust me, those typed are batshit crazy. She's telling someone else she's single when she's not. She seems really toxic towards you. Listen to your gut feeling. I, 26F, have never met my boyfriends, 33M, friends or family. Should I be concerned? We have been together for a year and a half. He says this is the best relationship he's ever had and that he loves me very much. He is not cold towards me, on the contrary, he is really tender and caring towards me and our relationship. Whenever we have a disagreement, we talk about it and discuss it, but we never had a fight. The thing is, that after 1 year and a half I haven't met a single one of his friends or family, whereas he has met plenty of my friends and family. He also dislikes the idea of me uploading pictures of us together to my social network or tagging him publicly. He says that it is because he wants to keep his private life private, but I know for a fact that he used to upload pictures with his exes on his social media. And that they all met his family and friends and did plans and trips together. I don't think he is cheating on me because we share a lot of our days and routines together. And again, he is a very loving and devoted BF. It's just the fact that I feel like he is keeping me a part of a big part of his life and it hurts sometimes. I tried to talk to him about this, but he just keeps saying that I shouldn't worry too much about that. It feels like he is trying to keep our relationship as secret as possible and I don't understand why, because we practically live together. And #X200B. Update. I had a long hard look in the mirror and went to have that conversation with my BF. I told him that I was really sad because I didn't meet his friends or family and that I didn't understand why I can't upload pictures of us together in social media. His response was, "Oh honey, I'm so sorry you felt like that. I never assumed meeting my friends and family was that important to you. Next week my cousin and 2 of my siblings, he has 6 siblings and he is the oldest, are coming to town. We can go out to dinner and drinks together." We then went on a stroll on the park to keep talking about the other issues and passed by one of his friends where he introduced me as his girlfriend. About the social media thing, he told me he is very private but doesn't have much problem of me uploading photos together as long they don't show much of our privacy and intimacy. I guess that he never thought of it as a problem because whenever he said, "Don't worry about it," I didn't keep explaining my concerns and doubts. I am really grateful that I did it at the end. He is happy that I could open about my concerns and encourages me to never keep a concern or doubt for that long again. Overall, I think that I didn't voice my concerns fully and giving them the weight it needed. People everywhere should know that nice and loving doesn't necessarily mean loyal as well. Maybe he has a legitimate reason for all of the cloak and dagger he's pulling, but as of right now, he's still lying about the reasoning behind it. This is one of those red flags you need to put your foot down on and demand an explanation. He's likely cheating, but not on you, but rather with you. Typically in a case like this, you are the other woman he is trying to keep secret from his family and friends. That's why he can't show you on social media. To not meet a single one of his family or friends after a year and a half of the relationship you describe as mind-bogglingly abnormal. I think you need to find out who his wife is and let her know. If she exists, I guarantee she has no idea unless he has made past slip-ups to make her suspect. Something is wrong. I get the social media thing and that should be respected if he is actually private in social media. However, never being introduced to friends, family after 1.5y is alarming at best. Do you know if the friends, family even know about you? That would be another big red flag. Despite how nice he seems, this relationship isn't healthy. I would be upfront to him about how you feel since honestly I do the same with all my relationships due to the abusive nature of my family. But in the past I would post pictures. Now I don't want them to ruin my relationships. Not sure if he is coming from this side, but I figured I would offer a different perspective. Something is definitely off. There's more to it that he isn't letting on, and if your gut is telling you something isn't right, believe it. A very obvious question, but have just asked him? Like straight away, "I'd like to meet your family. You have made them seem like lovely people." Or asked if you can join him and his friends when they hang out. If you have asked, what was his excuse? I understand the social media thing. Some people really don't like using it that much, especially visual ones. Is this a COVID thing? I have not seen some friends and some family for nearly 2 years. I went through this. I was the other woman. I thought it couldn't be because we practically lived together too, but he was married and had a kid. Be careful, less than 3. My 23F coworkers, M25, 35, 40, made rape jokes, and I don't know what to do about it. A little context to start. I work in a mostly male-dominated workspace. It isn't that there aren't women, it's just that the majority of authority roles in this job are held by men. This morning I came in about 15 minutes early for my shift, said hello to my coworkers, all men, and started in on some of my responsibilities. It was just me and them. One of my coworkers, M25, had been tapped, a few weeks earlier, for jury duty, and we'd all been teasing him about it when we found out. He's the last person you'd expect to sit on a jury. He told us that he'd been in for the selection, and that was when things went south really fast. My M40 coworker asked what the case was, and my other coworker told us that it was a sexual assault trial. This prompted a slew of remarks that made my head spin. Well, if she was wearing yoga pants or a miniskirt, you gotta let the guy off. Oh yeah, we've all been there before, brother. You really gotta feel for the guy. Means she's vulnerable, you should ask if she's single. So on and so forth. Now, these kinds of remarks would be upsetting under any circumstances. But the fact of the matter is, I'm a rape survivor. In the span of about 2 minutes, these men demolished any professional respect or genuine friendship I felt toward any of them. It set my anxiety off really badly. I ended up having a panic attack in our bathroom, and then lied and said I needed to go home because I threw up. Normally, at any other workplace, I'd go to a manager about it or, more likely, confront the people themselves. But, being that it was 3 men, all of whom are older than me, all of whom are in positions of authority over me, I couldn't even bring myself to look at them. And as for speaking to my manager, M37, I have had personal experience wherein one of my other, female, coworkers went to him over a personal issue, and not only did he mock her behind her back to the other employees, but her grievance basically went unnoticed. I can't accurately explain how conflicted I feel. I love this job, the hours are great, the pay is excellent, but at the end of the day there is no way for me to avoid these men, and the safety and comfort I felt around them has been severely damaged. Should I just let it go? Should I quit? I'm really just at a loss. Report them to HR. Also report the person on jury duty. There is no circumstance where this is ever okay to joke about. They will try and convince you it is just a joke and not to go over their heads to their manager or human resources. Do not listen to them. These support systems are there for this exact reason. Each and every one of them needs to be reported. You don't have a human resources department? This is classic hostile work environment stuff. Including the manager who isn't receptive to hearing complaints about inappropriate behavior. Go to HR. If you don't have an HR department, go to your boss's boss. Keep going up the chain of command until someone hears you out. Someone should. Well, if she was wearing yoga pants or a miniskirt, you gotta let the guy off. Oh yeah, we've all been there before, brother. You really gotta feel for the guy. Means she's vulnerable, you should ask if she's single. Worse than I expected, even since they're basically relating to and sympathizing with the rapist. Ah yes, the causal misogyny and sexism in the name of banter. I have worked in a male-dominated industry. What I found worked for me was a way to have a snappy comeback. Should these idiots be making jokes? 100% absolutely f***ing not. But embarrassing their asses may work much better in the long run if you want to stay at the job. Well, if she was wearing yoga pants or a miniskirt, you gotta let the guy off. Wow, you really have such little self-control that you have to jump everyone wearing those clothes. I am surprised you have that much energy. Oh yeah, we've all been there before, brother. So all of you have been accused of sexual assault? Yikes. You really gotta feel for the guy. You really feel bad for a guy that assaulted a woman? Is that what you would tell your wife? So? Dude, that is messed up. Doesn't even seem like a joke, but 3 pieces of shit bonding. I worked with a man who made these kind of jokes constantly. He ended up assaulting me. When someone tell you who they are, believe them. Men who joke like this aren't joking. They're usually, in my experience, testing the waters to see how to escalate it. Other commenters are right. Report this to HR immediately. Avoid being in a room alone with them. If HR fails to take your complaint seriously, leave. Do not put your safety and security at risk for a job. Honestly, your manager sounds like an ass and leaving may end up being your best option, but do not think it makes you weak. You would be strong to refuse to tolerate this behavior. I'm sorry this has happened. That is hideous. I am so sorry. I cannot even imagine how absolutely unfeeling these assholes can be to say something like that in front of a female coworker. I would never be able to look at them the same way either. Absolutely disgusting. Are you able to manage if you quit? Would you be able to find a new job easily? Do you have any savings to hold you over? You have to weigh your ability to work beside them until you find a new job against your ability to financially survive.